And today we're going to go over, like I said, Clark Ashton Smith. So why are we going over Clark Ashton Smith? Why? I'm not only a streamer, but I am also a member. I like to go to other shows, especially there's a couple of sellers on here that sell a lot of sci-fi and horror, and that, that's kind of where I like to spend my time reading and stuff. I like to branch out, but that is how I came into it: fantasy, sword and sorcery, all that stuff. Dragonlance was huge, Hobbit, so on and so forth. But like, I'm a jack of all trades, kind of master of none. I have a lot of shallow knowledge about a lot of things, but I always reserve the right to go, deeper into the pool as ADHD deems necessary. And I was in a show, and I want to give a shout out, and I wrote it down. I took notes. These Post-it notes are saving my life. CarpetBagger Books is another seller here on the platform. I was in his show the other day, and there was a lot of folks in the show, a lot of the names that you would recognize on the platform, and these books were going crazy. And everyone was so excited, and I couldn't join the excitement because I didn't know why anybody was excited, because I didn't know who these folks were. So I started taking notes, because that's what I do. I hate not knowing, but I love finding out. The discovery, curiosity, all that stuff. So the first one that really stuck out to me was the author Clark Ashton Smith. Okay, and that's why we're here. And I don't know anything about Clark Ashton Smith, and so we're gonna fix that. So I do use AI. I don't use generative AI, but I do use it like a search engine. Clark Ashton Smith, what books did he write? Please create a list for me in publication and series order. And please note any famous, expensive, or notable books. So we have a little blurb here, and I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I am going to read a little of it. And then what we have in the bottom screen below me here is the back end of eBay. It's called Terapeak or research, I guess is what they're calling it now. I have the book category selected here, and what this will do is tell us the most expensive books, what books, quantity. I'm a data nerd. Again, I'm a nerd. And so like this giant spike here, like what sold for $1,700? Like what topped out this chart here? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of good data. For those of you who like these things. And so then going down here, you have what has actually been sold. And then there's two categories. You have sold and active. And then here's that $1,700 book, which is Out of Space and Time, which in Arkham Press, and we'll look at that. We'll look at a lot of these. Actually, we'll pull up a few now. But before we jump into that, let's jump into this. Let me pull this over here, put that over there, so that's a little bigger and you guys can see it. Clark Ashton Smith, born in 1893, 1961, so he's been moved on for a while. He's one of the big three of classic American weird fiction alongside Lovecraft, which we all know, and then Robert E. Howard, which, as I understand it, is the Conan Barbarian guy. Let me double check that, maybe sure I'm telling you right, because I don't want to be wrong. I don't care if I'm right. I just want to be correct. Robert E. Howard, American author, Pulp Fiction helped define modern. So yeah, I got Conan. Solomon Kane is another big one. I like Solomon Kane a lot. There's a comic series on that one too, based on that, I'm sure. Anyway, I did not know that there was another individual kind of up there with Lovecraft and Howard. So, and this is part of the trifecta apparently, which I should have known this, but I didn't. So now I do. What was the date of death? 1961. It doesn't break it down any further than that. I can dig down further in a minute if we need. So, Mackenzie, yeah, excuse me. I should never do that into the microphone. While Lovecraft pioneered cosmic horror and Howard created Conan, I should have just read the damn thing. Smith became known for his lush, this is Smith here, became known for his lush, poetic prose, decadent fantasy worlds, and that's a fun word to say, decadent, and bizarre tales of sorcery, alien planets, and ancient civilizations. So it sounds like somebody I would absolutely love. An accomplished poet, sculptor, and artist, so ADD, Leonardo da Vinci type character. His stories appeared primarily in Weird Tales, which is a comic book, a very, very famous early comic book series. during the 1930s. Unlike many authors, Smith didn't write novels during his lifetime. His reputation rests almost, this is probably why I haven't heard of him. His reputation rests almost entirely on short stories, collections, many organized around shared fictional settings or cycles. Okay. So the Hyperborea cycle, full transparency, I have read none of these. So these are all new to me. So if you're a sci-fi guy and you're kind of going, Steve, I'm losing respect for you. I get it. I lost respect for me too. That's why we're fixing it. So he's got a French cycle, medieval France mixed with horror and dark fantasy. I'm reading a book right now called Between Two Fires. That's kind of this vibe, I wonder. So I wonder if this gentleman, this author here, was an influence. Zothic cycle, set on Earth's final content billions of years in the future after civilization died. I love reading this kind of shit. Dystopian stuff, dig it. Totally into it. And then here's some essential stories. I won't go through each and every one. Poseidonus cycle, last surviving fragment of Atlantis. And we're going to look at some of these covers. So here's his major collections in publication order. I'll leave that on the screen for a second so you guys can see. But will you read? Yes, I will, Agate. The first one I find physically, it will go straight to my... I've decided to tackle my my very, 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 very deep TBR pile. I'm sure all of you can relate. I'm actually going to put a bookshelf separate, a small bookshelf. I'm going to try to keep it under like a half shelf. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got the full bookshelves and you got like the half ones, right? I'm going to put a half one. And every book that I find in the wild that I'm wanting to read, I'm just going to throw on that shelf. And whenever it's time, I'm just going to go grab a random book off the shelf. The first Clark Ashton Smith book will go onto the shelf. So anyway, so here's the list there. This is another thing we're going to look up is this publisher Arkham House. There was a couple of Arkham House books in that Carpetbagger Books, which is such a fun phrase to say. That went for like a pretty penny. So I kind of want to dig into that a little bit too, if we have time. Collected fantasy. So here's some poetry. Love me some poetry. I do like poetry. I struggle with it a little bit. I'm trying to like become better at reading it, if that makes sense. Most famous individual stories. I'll let you guys look at that list real quick. Morning, Jocelyn. How are you? Today we're learning Clark Ashton Smith, which is apparently, he's as cool as like... the Conan guy, Howard, and Lovecraft. So, and I'm just learning about the guy. So this is kind of where the rubber meets the roads. I know a lot of us, including myself, we're booksellers, we're bookstore owners. Lost Worlds apparently is like one of the like super crazy mega collectible ones. Out of Space and Time, which is 1942. We're gonna see what all these covers like. We're gonna spend a little time here. But those, I'm just going to leave it on the screen because I actually do refer back to my own videos sometimes to be like to get a crash course on something I forgot. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so that's kind of a 4-second dive on that. So very accomplished, super reputable, super popular. Let's dig into the stuff. All right, so here's that Out of Space and Time, which is that one for $17.50. Signed Weird Tales. I think I pulled that up. I did. Let me move that over. All right, back over here. Centipede Press. Oh, Centipede Press is a publisher. Always pick up Centipede Press, regardless of what the title is. They're always super expensive. Empire of the Necromancer sounds like we could look at that one. Let me write that down. Empire of the Necromancer. Make sure we find that cover. Yeah, thank you. We're listening to this is my I just throw it on Amazon Music. This is my most often listened to. So, all right, selected letters. Here's his poetry. Hyperborea, that was the first thing we saw. Nightshade, Monster of the Pride. I'm just going to pull up a bunch of random stuff and then we'll approach it in a couple different ways. Another Hyperborea, Arkham's Master, Weird Tales. So he did a lot with Howard and HP. Emperor of Dreams. That looks really cool. All right, so we're in the $50 range. And also another thing to note is on the back end here, they do separate like the new and used books and the antiquarian collectible. Right now, we're in the new used books section. I'm hoping to find a lot of gold in the antiquarian collectible, especially because, not necessarily because antiquarian's 1930, but So hopefully we find something neat. All right, let's check this one out. So I'm gonna go ahead and say from just from a book collector or like finding books for your show, Clark Ashton Smith is gonna be a pickup 100% of the time. Probably not, like, you could probably even get away with some Abyss Triumphant. That's fun, very Lovecraftian. And you like, even if the books are a little beat up, like, they're probably somebody's still gonna want them, because this looks to be someone. This isn't just someone where the book is going to get on the shelf and just stay there. Like, people are going to read this. So even if you see a tore up mass market paperback missing a cover, but the pages, throw it up for $1. Somebody will probably want to read it. And so no book left behind, right? All right, here's Hyperborea and a Ballantine. Lynn Carter, of course, another famous author. How much did this one go for? This was a $90 paperback right here. So that's what this cover looks like. Very cool. I mean, every single one of you would pick up this cover even without knowing who Clark Ashton Smith is, because that's a cool cover. Ooh, I do like this song. Very pretty book. That's like minty fresh. 1971. All right, that's pretty cool. So get that cover burned into your mind. This one here is a collection. It looks, we won't spend too much time, but this is about $80. Only a stock photo there. I'm not a fan of the stock photos. I like to say, okay, Timescape, super huge. Timescape's this whole biggest series, as I understand it, and like all of them are worth picking up. Somebody wants the book. But Monster of Prophecy, man, these are, I never find paperbacks in this good a condition. But I'm always in like trash cans and recycle bins. I don't buy a whole lot of like collections. I'll probably start needing to, but these are really nice. So burn these into your head. These went for $84, which is really nice. Here's another collection. Halloween in a Suburb. That's cool. Song of the Necromancer, Singers of the Mist. This is Lovecraft, Ashton Smith, and Robert E. Howard, respectively. I wonder if this is part of like a box set or something. That's cool. That reminds me of like the Edward Gorey art, kind of a little bit. That's really cool. One of thrift stores near me did a 5 books for $1 plus 15% off. Oh, that's hot. And it was hard for me to resist becoming a bookseller. I get it. To be like, that's kind of how I ended up in this. Cause like I was a poor kid growing up, and this is how I would get stuff. Like, I would find somebody with a large amount of stuff where I could, grab the one or two things out of it that I wanted, and then I would sell the rest just to break even so I could do it again, And then you do that enough times and you end up with so much stuff. You're like, I might as well become a store. You know what I mean? I've been doing eBay off and on for like 20 years for that reason. This is a really, really cool cover. And then COVID hit and I lost my corporate gig. I gave up photography, even though I want to go back. Okay, so here's some of his really neat ones here. Lost Worlds. That's really hot. This is a really cool cover. And we're going to look. So in Arkham, I know every time I read that, I think of Batman, obviously, right? But this is a publisher. And we're going to look that up probably before we wrap up today. Same boat, not to mention I'm going to need a bigger house if I don't move some of these piles. Amen, Mattingly. I started selling books so I could afford all the books I have personally. I always make the joke, Mackenzie, that like Whatnot is like a fancier like book swap. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all, anyway. That's what it feels like sometimes. So that's really cool. You know what I mean? With just like an intermediary that's like taking 10% off the top, which, they're facilitating, so they deserve it. But Weird Tales. So I guess he's got something in there. That's Capone, it looks like. I guess that's not Capone, but it looks like Capone. Well, that's cool. I like the slipcase. So this one was, it's some sort of like compilation thing. Weird Tales. So this is probably from the comic books. $50 on this one. I've never seen that one in the wild. So here looks to be an old, okay. This is a bibliography. Really cool artwork. On behalf of Clark Ashton Smith. I wonder who that is. Okay. It's the compilation. Gotcha. So that's really cool. How much is this one? $50 on this one. Very pretty book. I really like that cover. I like that color palette together too. I'll be in a show and like, I know who you bought this book from and whatnot. That's funny. Been on Whatnot less than a month, and I have a serious book buying problem. That happens, Jocelyn. It's better than crack, though. That's what I keep telling myself. It could be crack. It's just paper crack instead. What am I doing here? In and out. My husband calls my cardboard crack. Yep. Does your husband collect magic cards by chance? Or Pokemon cards? Because that's usually a term. That's a term that originated within that universe. I'm in that universe, so like we used to crack and pack. Nothing. He's boring, aw, but he loves you. You are his hobby. You're his special interest, which makes him the most interesting, right? Good name for your eventual Whatnot store. Cardboard crack. Yep. So this here is probably, this is the $1,700 book right here. Sold by Periphery Books. That's a hard word to say. Very pretty. So this, just by looking at it, I'm probably going to say 40s or 50s just based on this kind of paper. This paper does not like to not rip. It rips so easy. There's no like coating or like gloss to it. So it's just, there's like no resistance. So to find one, 1942, nailed it. Arkham House. So this is the big one here. This is what it looks like without the jacket. So like, I know it's hard when we go out. I know this happens to me. I guess I can't speak for everybody else, but when I see a lot of books that look like this one and they're little tiny titles and they're all linen, and knowing what I know, like I know there could be gold in there, but it's still really hard to bring myself to kind of look through them. Do it anyway, because like this is very like it just says Smith. So you know what I mean? Like, no, nothing against the Smiths out there, but that's a very generic name, and your brain may not stop on it. And out of space and time probably would make me like pause on the spine. But like, this is what I'm saying is this is an easy one to miss, especially without the dust jacket. But do burn this into your head. This is almost a $2,000 book. Big money, big money. So, and I did see a copy of this. I don't know if it was this one, but I saw a bunch of Arkham houses being like auctioned off on Whatnot the other day. It was in Carpetbagger Books auction. And I don't know if it was his personal collection or something he had found, or I don't know what the story behind it was. Hubs occasionally plays video games, finds reading boring. He's a very happy wife, happy lifetime. Amen. Hard time. Yeah, see, you are his hobby. That's fun. He likes you. He thinks you're cute. I love it. So yeah, keep that one in your mind there. I might actually share that on socials later because that's kind of a neat one. All right, what's this one here? This is Weird Tales. This is $750. So we've seen this. This is a really neat edition. Is this signed? Is that what's going on here? Oh, look at that. Copy 16. Deluxe signed edition, limited to 125 copies. Unlikely you'll see this in the wild, but maybe. These are gorgeous. Look. Oh, and each one signed. Okay. Oh, Ray Bradbury. Ah! Like, that's my man there. I don't have a Ray Bradbury signature, but if I got one, I would keep it. I think Media Boca, if you guys follow him on here, he had something signed by Ray Bradbury the other day. I missed the show, unfortunately. Back to work, boo. Mackenzie, have a great day at work. We are going to, I am recording these. They'll be on YouTube later on if you want to, hear me talk nice things about your husband again. I've been married for 20 years. I love being married. It's a good time. I used to be a wedding photographer too. Anyway, so that one's really cool. I like being in love. I like being married. I like the concept of two becoming one. I dig the whole thing. In the realms of mystery and wonder, collected prose, poems of artwork of Clark. I said all of that wrong, but you guys can read. So I'm not going to try a second time. Oh, that's right. He was an artist too, right? Sculptures, painting and drawings. This guy is fucking neat. You know what I'm saying? Like once you like learn about someone, like one of the litmus tests, let's call it, of whether like would I want to sit and have a beer with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and listen about like the things that you've done and the things that your life and just let you nerd out and like have your autistic, what's it called? Like word salad. You know what I'm saying? Like when we do the info dumps, like I am that person, obviously, as I'm doing an info dump. I have weaponized curiosity, but like I would love to have a beer with this guy and just let him talk about his whole fucking life. So this is really cool. So here's that. But how much was this? This is a $250 book. So this is your back. That's your front. I wish we saw more photos in there. I would love to have that. That's really pretty. And this is Centipede Press. So the two publishers probably from today to take away from, if you didn't know them before, is Centipede Press. Always pick those up regardless of title and author. And then Arkham House, which is more of a vintage publisher, antique publisher. Always pick those up regardless of author or title. Amen? All right, so that is that. Let's go back over to the list. Let's go ahead and jump over to Antiquarian and kind of see what we can get over Cha. So some more heat. Okay, what was sold? This $1,000 book was sold on April 24th, 2026. So that's only a month or two ago. Okay, so another edition of Out of Space and Time. Here's Spells and Filters. All 6 fugitive poems. Okay, so this is kind of some more neater, more eclectic stuff. So we're going to look at all these. Startling mystery stories. If you're just joining us, we're learning about Clark Ashton Smith. I was in a show the other day being run by CarpetBagger Books. He had a bunch of these in his show. I knew nothing about this author, and we now know a lot about the author. We have fixed it. And the takeaway is always pick up his books 100% of the time, whether you're a fan or not, because you can always trade it to a fan, of which there are many. All right, we probably pulled up too many. My poor computer can only take so much. So this is another, Googling ahead, I found that Smith was influenced by James Branch Cabell, who I happened to buy a book of this weekend through dumb luck. We're writing that down. James, and thank you for the factoid, friend. I'm going to get a little button. When I get my shit together, I'm going to get my little Stream Deck. And then when people give me a good factoid about like the topic, I'm going to have like a button to press that like makes shiny noises and stuff. I think we're going to do that. Let me write that down too. Amazing illustration. Okay. Inspiration. And if he inspired Clark Ashton Smith, that means we're kind of going back in time a generation. And I tell you, when my information on sci-fi and fantasy gets real like spotty, is pre-1930. Do you know what I'm saying? I know nothing. So this will be a good opportunity to correct that. So another copy of this, we already looked at this once. Oh, look at this. It's the guy. This is the guy. Look at that. How funny is that? We found him. Great seller. Let's shout him out. He has no idea we're doing this, by the way. Zero. So if you find him and tag him, or next show, tell him. I might send him a link. But this is his shop. So maybe it was exactly this book that I saw. That is so cool. Look at that. 100% positive. So you can trust Carpetbagger. He does good work. That is so funny. Spells and Filters. Is this an older one? This is another older one. 1958. So just like comic books, when you guys see the price here, when you in the jacket, first off, that likely means it's either a first edition or like not a book club, not a cheaper version. You know, it was. And then also, not always, there's exceptions to that rule, but the lower the number, generally the older the book. So just kind of another like tip and trick to kind of parse information quickly if you're going through a lot of books. Like a lot of times I'll buy a shelf full of book clubs, right? And, you know, and they have that size and they have the older dust jackets, but you really don't assume those are all book clubs, because very often you'll flip through and you'll go, oh, that's a first edition. Oh, that's a first edition. Not to say that you find anything worth anything necessarily, but like you need to double check. You know what I'm saying? So this was another cool 1958. Here are your contents. Because this looks to be the size of book club. And a lot of the books that are vintagey kind of were smaller. These are fugitive poems. Man, that's cool. Look at that. This is a $500 folio, probably, type thing. Man, that's cool. So this guy was a poet, an author, even though it technically is a poet, an author. Anyway, I don't know if that distinction matters. But he was a sculptor. I'd like to see some of his sculptures. So that's really cool. Very, very, very Renaissance-y, you know, like a bunch of different things, and then was able to do it. This is cool. When you guys are out and about at estate sales and things like that, don't sleep on like the ephemeral looking stuff. You know, do glance at it. You'll never know what you'll find. This particular thing, which, you know, a lot of us probably, you know, unless we took the time to see the cover, we may have walked right by this, and that's a $425 little thingamabob. And probably because of that, there's his signature right there. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Very neat. The Star Treader and Other Poems. So again, he was a poet, even with the water damage. So again, this is kind of what I'm saying. You could walk right by this, you know, unless you're really looking at the poem. So, you know, when you're out there and you're thrifting, so even with this damage, you know, probably what, $250 or so. That's still awesome. And I'm telling you, when you go out to these thrift stores and these antique malls and stuff, a lot of the folks that are putting those books on the shelf, they're not looking. They're just pricing them all at like $1, $2, $3, whatever the price is, and going. So don't feel like you can't find these things out there, because a lot of 1912. Wow. I thought he was. Oh yeah, he was born in 1890 something. So he would have been, gosh, young. So 410, yeah, I mean, probably still not even out of his 20s. That is so cool. All right, these are neat here. Sorry, mystery. Stories, all right. Always pick up, you guys already know to pick all these up, so I won't spend too much time on that one. The Last Hieroglyph, part of the collected fantasy, so apparently there's a bunch of these. So just kind of get that marked into your brain. This one's $177. The Devil's Notebook. It kind of like makes me worried. Like, did I pass any of these up? Because I may have thought this was real, you know, but it's got a demon on a tail on it. I probably would have grabbed that, because I would have assumed this is like a cult or something like that. So that's super cool. This one was $177. Abominations of Yondo. And again, this is another Arkham House. The Arkham Houses are smaller. Yep, 1960 here. They'll look like a modern library, and when you pick them up, until you like open them up, but that's kind of when they look from a distance. I usually confuse them with, because I'm like, ooh, a modern library with a dust jacket. All right, Tales of Science and Sorcery. Very neat. Man, I like the artwork on all these poems and prose, because he was a poet. There's that cover. 1964, another Arkham House. I think what we're going to do here is Other Dimensions. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to get a blurb on Arkham House just to kind of get this into the video and kind of know what that is. And I think what we'll do is we'll cut the video, we'll check the pre-bids and everything, and then we'll probably get to raiding somebody. I think we have set out and accomplished what we set out to do. The I don't know how to say that word. Unexpurgated? I don't know how to say that word. Clark Ashton Smith, lot of 6. I do know that. So really cool artwork. Again, let me pull that up here. Oh, man, look at that. Holy smokes. I would have picked that up and thought it was a tabletop thing. You know what I'm saying? The Monster of the Prophecy. That is so cool. Vaults of Yovumbus. Where's my coffee? Necronomicon Press. Yeah. Very cool. All right, cool. So let's come back over here. Ask it for Give Me a Paragraph on Arkham Press. And then we'll read that out, and then we'll probably call it. Arkham House is one of the most influential specialty publisher horrors in horror, fantasy, and sci-fi, founded in 1933 by August Derleth. This guy also wrote a lot of Lovecraft and stuff. Donald Wandry, I actually don't know anything about. This was done in Wisconsin. Press was created primarily to preserve the works of Lovecraft. And I know Derleth, that was Derleth's big thing. In hardcover after his death, at a time when most of his stories had only appeared in pulp, Arkham House soon expanded to publish other masters of weird fiction, including Clark Ashton Smith. We just went over Robert E. Howard, Ramsey. I'm writing all these down. Ramsey Campbell, who I didn't know anything about. Fritz Leiber, I do know a little bit. And, of course, Ray Bradbury is like one of my favorite authors in existence. Ray Bradbury, of course, wrote Fahrenheit 451, The Tattooed Man, or Illustrated Man. I can't ever remember what it's called. And Mattingly will correct me shortly if he's still in the room, because he always does. Many Arkham House books were printed in relatively small quantities, often just a few thousand copies. That's probably why they're so collectible and hard to find. Purchased by devoted fans rather than libraries, surviving first editions and excellent edition are highly sought after collectors. So please, please, please do the book world a favor. Find those things. It'll be financially beneficial to you, and the collectors will really appreciate it because those are hard to find. For rare book dealers, the Arkham House imprint is often a strong indicator of collectible value, particularly for titles published between the 30s and the 60s. I thought you should know.